Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to talk about, is it best to buy a property using a buy, refurbish, refinance model, or is it better to go with traditional buy to let? I'm going to compare the two, and I'm going to go into some spreadsheets. I have some systems in my flagship training program, Property Investors Accelerator, which I use and my clients use, and I'm going to show you some examples of like recent deals that we've done, my clients have done, and we're going to compare the difference between buying the same deal in the traditional way and just putting down a 25% deposit, and then buying that deal, which is what my client did, using a buy, refurbish, refinance strategy, so that you can understand the differences between the two, which one gives you a better return, and which one do you feel is going to be the most suited to you and your personal situation. Because that's the biggest thing as well, right? There is no right and wrong in property, right? It's what's individual to you. I see a lot of people say, hey, it's better to buy traditional, it's better to buy using buy, refurbish, refinance. It honestly depends on your personal situation as to which one you choose to use. And hopefully, like, by watching this video, my goal is at the end of this video that you can decipher and therefore come to a decision between what suits you and what's better for your personal situation at this time. Ultimately, if you want to know what I do, I buy in both ways. I have diversification in my portfolio. Sometimes I want to get those higher returns. Sometimes I just want to not do a refurbishment. Maybe I have a lot going on in work and stuff, and I don't feel like I've got time to outsource that particular thing. Whatever the situation may be, I may decide just to buy the property with a 25% deposit and accept that it's going to be potentially a lower return than if I do a buy, refurbish, refinance model, which is something that you're going to learn in the video today between the differences between those two numbers, right? So with that said, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Richard Norris. I'm a successful property investor. I've built a multi-million-pound property portfolio. I've been investing in property for over the last 10 years, and my group of property companies does over 200k a month. So with that being said, if you're new to my channel, please make sure that you subscribe, hit that bell icon so that you can be notified on a weekly basis when I bring out new content and new videos. And then also please make sure you hit the like button as well, because that will help the YouTube algorithm bring more people my way, show my work to more people, and get my content out into the marketplace. And I'd really appreciate it if you did it for that reason. So with that being said, like, let's jump into the spreadsheets. Let's go into the systems now. Let's take a look at what is going to be better, buying buy, refurbish, refinance, or using a traditional buy to let model, and what are the differences between the two. I'll show you in the spreadsheet. Okay, great. So now we're in the spreadsheet. Let's go through this then. So you have the first tab here, which is the buy to let system calculator, and then you have the other one, which is the one where we'll do the BRRR strategy, which is buy, refurbish, refinance, repeat. And we'll start off with the traditional buy to let model, which is just putting down a 25% deposit. So for the purpose of this video and for the transparency of the content, this is an exact deal that my client has done. They didn't buy it on a traditional buy to let model. They bought it using the BRRR strategy, which I'm going to go through with you in a second. But this is going to help you understand how we can quickly determine like the difference in returns and the numbers by buying in a traditional way, where we just put down that 25% deposit, we don't do any refurbs, we don't add any value, versus actually doing the refurb. So we're going to use the same property and do the comparables on both. So it was a 2-bed property that my client bought, and they turned into a 3-bed terrace. So we're going to pretend that for the purpose of this video that the 3-bed terrace was on the market and my client decided to sell it in this scenario, and you were a buy-to-let investor and you came along and you purchased the property that was ready, so you didn't need to do any refurb, you just put down the 25% deposit, and we're going to run the numbers there. Now, if this is the first time that you've seen this spreadsheet, this is one that we use from our training program, Property Investors Accelerator, and if you stick around to the end of this video, you're going to get access to this spreadsheet as well, and there's also a free mini training that I've released. So if you stick around to the end, you can get access to the free mini training and also this spreadsheet as well. And you're going to see like how good the spreadsheets are, because they can run any comparable on it, and it's going to work out every single metric and every single return and formula that we know is built in to the spreadsheet, so that you can basically use this intuitively, almost like the iPhone, right? Sometimes when you pick up the iPhone, right, it's super friendly, the user face is super intuitive, that even like a 3-year-old can use it, right? And I know I have like a nephew who's 4, he can probably use the iPhone better than me and the iPad, right, for sure. But that's my point, right? We've made things super intuitive and easy for you to use, and we've put the complexity and the formula into the background so that it can help you run your numbers and basically analyze your deals with complete predictability to the penny, take away human error, and do things fast and quick, which is really important for property as well. In property, we need to be fast, we need to act quickly, we need to make decisions quickly, but we must be able to do our due diligence in a very detailed way as well. So the system couples detailed analysis with correct due diligence to keep you safe, plus fast systems with a great user interface. So with that being said, and without me kind of explaining the spreadsheet too much, let's jump in. So traditional 3-bed terrace. Now this was over in a place called Merthyr Tydfil in South Wales. The end value of the 3-bed property is 115,000. So let's say it was on the market for 115. Let's say we got a discount of 5k and we purchased it for 110,000. So if we put 110 here, okay, 110,000 here, deposit at 25%, okay, so 27,500 deposit, mortgage at 75% loan to value gives you 82.5. You have your solicitor's fees, which I always allow around £1,500 for a simple buy-to-let deal like this, and then you have your broker and valuation fees. Now sometimes you don't have to pay the broker's fee, but the broker that I specifically use charges me $499 for an application fee, and then you might have your valuations on top, which might be your structural survey or your home valuation report if you need those, asbestos report, damp proof survey, depending on what you need. I allow £850 in there just as a contingency. If you have any other professional fees, you can put them in where the sourcing fee is and just change that to professional fees and add them in here. However, with that being said, on a property like this that's just been done, you may get a free valuation from the mortgage lender. Okay, then you have your stamp duty at 0 to 250 at 2%. Obviously the properties are under that threshold. It's 115,000. We're buying it for 110, so there's no stamp duty to pay there, but we do have the stamp duty at 3%, which is 110,000 times the 3% is 3,300. Again, the system's worked out for us. Then we have our project hold costs. Now over in this section here, I basically work out, okay, if I were to buy this property with no tenants in situ, what's it going to cost me in the first month before I get my tenants in there, assuming that for this example, right? So 82,500 is the mortgage that you're taking out on day one. The mortgage at 5%, okay, we're running at 5% interest rates. The day of this recording is 30th of November 2022. Interest rates right now currently around 5%, so we're running that at 5%. Gas about £20, water £20, electric £20 as standing charges, and then let's say we have £150 of council tax to pay in the first month. So if we allow 1 month, 4 weeks of hold costs when we acquire the property to find the tenant moves in after month 1, therefore in month 2 we don't have to pay these costs. We still have this, but it's offset in the calculation and the tenant pays these. Okay, so with that being said, over here, sourcing fee. So if you got somebody to source this for you, put the number in there, but we don't have a sourcing fee. The refurb cost is obviously 0. We're saying that it's a property that's in good condition. We're going to buy it in the traditional buy-to-let fashion, which is 25% deposit, 75% loan to value, and therefore the total purchase cost here is £34,203. We don't have any angel investor funds or anything, any angel private money either. We're just saying that this is your money, buying it in a traditional method, keeping things very simple. The new market value. So the new market value is going to be 115. In this example, we're assuming that we bought the property for 110, but it's on at 115. It's worth 115, but the maximum new lending is going to come out of 86,250 against the 115. We're actually going to change this to 82.5. We're not going to take any money out because you're not going to be able to go back to the mortgage lender in 6 months time and say, hey, this property is actually worth 115. And even if you did, it's not going to be worth it. You're going to take about 4k out, and your fees on your early repayment charge is going to be more than probably 4k anyway, so you wouldn't do that. So for the purposes, and to keep it simple, 25% deposit, 75% loan to value, 82.5 is the mortgage. Your equity is 32,500 in that situation. You don't take any money out. You leave your 34,200 in because you haven't forced the appreciation. Now, this property rents out for £675 as a 3-bed property. So if you put 675 in there, straight away, if you look at 3.5%, because the reason why I put this at 3.5 and this is 5 is because I want to know, okay, market rates today are 5%. So what does that give me today? Okay. And then what happens if interest rates drop? Because interest rates do fluctuate, right? They don't just go up, they can sometimes come down. And therefore, it wasn't that long ago where we had 3.5%. And actually my client bought this around 6-ish months ago, so they actually paid the fee of 3.5%. But for the purpose of this video, we'll kind of do the analysis at 3.5 and 5, and we'll work on 5 because that's what the market rate is right now. But at 3.5, you can see the mortgage is 240, your management fees at 10%, 67.50, which is 10% of the gross rental income, your monthly operating expenses, which is things like your buildings and contents, insurance, any maintenance repairs throughout the year, 10% at 675 is 67.50. It works out for you. There is no ground rent or service charge. It's a 3-bed property, which is a freehold. Therefore, your gross profit look is £299, which gives you 11% return on investment. If you take the 299 times that by 12 to give you your annual cash flow, divide that by the money you leave in, tells you what the true ROI is, your true return on investment for the £34,000 that you invested to buy this property on the traditional buy-to-let model. Now, down here, you can also see it, well, what happens at 5%? So if we're buying this property today and we're going on 5% interest rates, which is what's more likely right now, then you're going to be making £196 of profit and 7% return in this example, if you're buying on a traditional buy-to-let model. Now you can see that what the system does as well, it works out our gross rental income. So it takes the let me just work out the formula where this is taken from. So this formula is taken from the 675 of gross rental income, and you times it by 12, okay, to get your gross rental income. So you take the 8,100, which is 675 times 12, gives you 8,100 of gross rental income, divide by the house price, which we said here is 115, automatically calculates what our gross yield is 7%. That's why at 5% you're still making margin. You can still make just under £200 because you're at 7%. If that yield is lower than 7%, like 3, 4, or 5%, and you're investing in places like Oxford, where I'm originally from, places like London, places in the southeast, your profits is really squeezed at 75%, and so you probably have to reduce your loan to value. But again, without me getting too detailed and going on a tangent, 7% yield gives you these numbers, right? Now, the other thing that this tells us, which is really good for us, is like, what is the total return? Because this tells us what our return is on cash flow, but it doesn't tell us what the total return is of cash flow plus capital growth. Now, again, I never assume capital growth when I'm doing my numbers, so I always just work on this number here. I assume that I'm not going to get anything, the property is not going to go up, because if it cash flows at that scenario, then that's great. I'm kind of managing the financial downside, right? Now, if the market goes up by 3%, which it is likely to do, even if it goes up and down over a 10-year period, 15-year period, 20-year period, property prices do go up. That's what the data tells us. Average house price growth at the moment is 7.5% at the day of this recording, and I'm only working on 3 for this example. So if the house price is 115,000 and it appreciates at 3%, next year the capital growth amount for that 12-month period will be 3,450, which is 115,000 times by the 3% to give you that. And then your annual net cash flow is effectively your 196, your gross profit today, times by 12 to give you your annual net cash flow. If you add these two numbers together, you get a total return of 5,800. And then if you divide that by the 34,000, which is your investment, you get your true return on investment here, which is just under 17%, looking at cash flow plus capital growth. If you're just looking at cash flow, you're making 7% on cash flow, assuming no capital growth. So that gives us like a kind of like a nice kind of summary. And then up here, it tells us what our assumed cap rate is, which is 3%. So if I change this to 6%, I'll have to remodel this, because if I change this, again, the beauty of doing things live and raw, right? But if I change this to 6%, it should change what the house price return is. So what I would do is, if I change this to 6%, sorry, down here, it works everything out for me, and yes, it changes up here. So you need to change it down here. 115,000 at 6% gives you 6,900 growth, and you can see the difference that the growth makes. Tells you what the new house price is, tells you what your total return is. Okay, so if I model this back to 3, you can see we go back to 16.7, and the numbers change here again. If I model this at 5, my numbers go to 23% total return with a capital growth of 5,750, as opposed to the original 3% here. Okay. So I'm going to change this as well, because that should basically equal whatever this number is here. So yeah, that's how the system works. So you can see here at 71% loan to value, because we bought it at 110. If I change this to 115, again, you can see everything will change. Sorry, not 11.5, that'd be a good deal. Again, 115, everything will change, and it will remodel everything for you. So 75% loan to value. The yield stays the same, but the money left in is 35 and not 34. You get a 10% return on investment and 6%, as opposed to, I think this was 11 and 7. And then you get 15% as opposed to 16.9 on the 3% cap growth rate. So that explains how you do it. Now, if you go over to the hold and rent section here as well, what you can do is you can see it's already modeled out. Well, what happens at 6% interest rates? Well, we make 4% and 108. What happens at 7%? It tells us we still make £36, where you're making a return on investment of 1%. But if interest rates are at 7%, we still got margin, we're still covered. So we're managing our financial downside. So that's how it works on a traditional buy-to-let. Now, let's run the numbers as if we were to do this on a buy, refurbish, refinance property model for the same property, right? And this is exactly what my client did, okay? So the guide price, so 2-bed property in South Wales, we converted it to a 3-bed property, and we literally put a stud partition down the central part of room 2, because it was massive, so we changed it into 2 rooms. Now, the guide price, it was on the market for 85,000.
We built out a pipeline, we put offers in, we followed the deal, we followed up, the deal fell through a few times, we didn't get an offer accepted straight away. My client followed up on the deal over a period of 6 months. She eventually got the deal at 76,000. Okay, so decent discount on the way in. Deposit is 19,000 in that scenario, 25% down. 57,000 is the mortgage. Solicitors fees 1,500, brokers fees 1,350 plus valuation. I've already explained how that works. And then the next thing is you have your stamp duty at 2%, right, which we don't have to pay. Again, just explain that. But we pay the 3%. So we pay the 76 times the 3% gives us 2,280. Now, this is where the calculations start to change as well. We have project hold costs. So if I go over to the buy, refurbishment, hold and rent section here, our project hold costs. So if I'm saying we buy this property on a 5% mortgage, we take 86,250 on day one, which is the mortgage. That should change. So actually the mortgage is 57. So this should equal, this number here should equal this here, which is the mortgage. So if we take out a mortgage for 57,000, which just so I make sure you understand how I got there, 76,000 purchase price, we put £90,000 deposit at 25%, 75% loan to value is 57,000. Whilst we're refurbishing the property, because remember, adding value in this scenario, we have hold costs. We have bills that go out of our bank account every month with nothing coming in whilst we're doing the renovation. And one of those costs is the mortgage interest payment. So we take the 57,000, we times by 5%, today's interest rate gives us £237 a month that we have to pay whilst the property renovations are going on. And we don't have any tenants. If we allow £20 for gas, £20 for water, £20 for electric, and £150 for council tax, you can see that we get £447.50 a month as our outgoing hold costs. Now, this was a £12,000 refurb. I've allowed 3 months in the system. In reality, it takes 6 to 8 weeks to do that. To be honest, it should have been done in 4 to 6 weeks. But anyway, slight delay, 6 to 8 weeks was done. We allow 3 months. The reason we allow 3 months is we allow contingencies within our financial modeling systems. Sometimes in property, things don't run to time or budget, so you have to allow contingencies. But I put the refurb at 12 because I know that was the exact figure that my client did it for. And the hold cost there for a $447.50 a month. 3 months, 2 months to do refurb, 1 month to get the tenant in. So we're paying £1,342.50 whilst we're holding the property in that scenario and the renovation is going on. So that equals that cell there. Okay, cool. So there you got your project hold cost. Next thing we have is a sourcing fee. There was no sourcing fee on the property. My client found this themselves. They built the pipeline. They learned through me in the program. They built a pipeline. They put multiple offers on. They kept following up and they got the deal. That's how it happened. Refurb cost for 12,000. So I put that in there. So straight away, we can see that this deal cost £37,472 to buy on the way in with a refurb. 19 deposit, solicitors fees, brokers fees, stamp duty, project hold cost, and the refurbishment. The total expenditure on day one is £37,472. Whereas in scenario one, where we bought it on the traditional way with no refurb, it's still costing you $35,000 because you're paying $115 for the asset that you could have brought if you brought it below market value because it needed renovation, because it needed works, right? So similar cost. This one's costing slightly more on the way in. New market value. So at this point now, if you're doing a buy, refurbish, refinance, repeat model, you're going to go back to the bank as soon as you finish the refurb and you're going to look to say, hey, can I refinance this property? I bought it for you at 76,000. We spent 12 doing it up. We've remodeled it from a 2 to 3, put in a new kitchen, new flooring, painted the walls, give it a bit of tender loving care. What's this valued at now? They came and said it was valued at 115,000. So we take the 86,250, which is 115,000 times 75% is the 86,250. We get equity of 28,750, which is the difference between the 115 and the 86,250. The money that we take out is 29,250. When you're doing a buy, refurbish, refinance model, you can do an equity release and you take your money back out. This is one of the big advantages of doing a BRRR strategy. You take the 86,250, you pay back the original mortgage on day one of 57. That 29,250 comes back into our bank account and we leave only £8,250 in the deal, which is effectively, it costs you 37.5 to do it. You take 29,250 back, so the difference is what you leave in the deal, and that's 8,000. Now, this still rents out for 675. So at 3.5% interest rate, we have £250 mortgage, management fee at 10%, monthly operating expenses 10%, we make £288.44 of profit, but we only leave 8,200 in the deal, giving us a 42% return, as opposed into the previous example, if you remember, we are only getting a 10% return. We're getting the same profit. The profit doesn't change. We still make 288 a month, but we're leaving 35 in the deal because we didn't do a refurb. We just bought it in a traditional way with a 25% deposit plus associated costs. we get 10% return, right? But in the BRRR strategy, same property, we bought it below market value, added the value, refinanced the equity back out. So we didn't leave 35 and we only left 8, but we're getting the same monthly profit as if we bought it on a traditional way. So 5%, if you model at 5%, you can see you still make the 180, but you're making a 26% return and 8,000 you're leaving in the deal. Again, so you can see the difference between buying at buy, refurbish, refinance as opposed to buying in the traditional way. And you'd expect to see this difference of like 20% increase in ROI. And in this one, like we've got a 32% increase in ROI, because honestly, the more work that something is involved in, the better your ROI is going to be. That's just how life works, right? It's very rare where you can do less work and make more money, right? It's usually directly proportional, right, to the value that you do. So for example, if you do the refurb, you take the effort to do the refurb, and by the way, it's not that much effort because you're not doing it, you're employing your build team. I'm in Dubai right now and I'm still buying assets in the UK, and my build team is basically cracking on with projects whilst I'm here, and they're basically running the projects to budget with the project manager, with the QS, all built into the cost model. And I can do that from anywhere in the world. Separate YouTube video coming for that, okay? But yeah, you can see like the more you have to do something, the more involved the project, the bigger the ROI. You're always going to make more money if you do a buy, refurbish, refinance strategy, because you're going to be able to add the value and take some of the money back out, which you can't do in the traditional way. Now, if we look over here again, the gross rental income's 8,100. We still make 115,000 on the house price now. So the gross yield is still 7%, which is the same as if we bought it in the traditional way. And again, we're allowing 3% on capital growth, like we did in the first example when we modeled it on the traditional buy-to-let. So you can see that we make £3,450 on capital growth again. Our annual net cash flow stays the same at 2,000. So we're still making £5,617.50, which is the same as if we bought it in the traditional way. The profits don't change. You still make the same money if you do a traditional buy-to-let or buy, refurbish, refinance. The end value, you're still going to make the same margins, give or take, right? Because you're still refinancing at the end value, which you're doing on day one with the traditional buy-to-let as well. The end value is going to be the same because the end value is the true market value. And if you bought a property in the traditional buy-to-let way, you're probably going to pay close to value, or if not, you're going to pay market value. That's why that number doesn't change. So you always make the same profit, but your returns are much higher just because you leave less money in the deal. So you're making 68%, which is your total return on investment of capital growth plus cash flow, as opposed to in the traditional way, you're making 15%. Okay, so that shows you how to do it, shows you the differences between buying buy, refurbish, refinance way or doing a traditional buy-to-let. Obviously, the numbers speak for themselves. If you do a buy, refurbish, refinance strategy, you're always going to make more money, which is why a lot of professional property investors like myself deploy this model. Like I said, I have a balance in the portfolio. I don't think there's one right or wrong. If you can afford to leave more money in the deal because you've got £1 million of cash to invest and you can afford to leave 35,000 in it, take a lower return and you're happy with that, then equally buying in the traditional way is fine. But if you want to grow your portfolio and leverage and scale and get your money working as hard as you can, then a buy, refurbishment, refinance model is going to be better for you. Like I say, I'm a big fan of diversification. I don't think there's one right or wrong. I think it depends on you, your individual circumstances, what you want to achieve out of the portfolio, and the returns that you're looking to get. I have a diversified portfolio and I do both. Then over the leaf here, we have the buy, refurbish, refinance model about, okay, what happens at 6% interest rates? Again, we make 16% return on 108. It goes down from the original 42% here at 3.5, 26 at 5. So we lose a bit of ROI. If interest rates go up to 6, we make 16. At 7%, we still make £36 of profit, but we still only make 5% return at 7% interest rates. Okay, whereas we're making 1% on the traditional model, right? On the buy, refurbish, refinance model, because we're only on 8K, not 35, we make 5%. So that's how it all works. And these systems are like really good. They're really fluid. Hopefully you can see the benefit of them, that you can map things out very easily. You can change lots of what if scenarios, but I don't want to get into the granular details of that to confuse you. I just want to show you the difference today between buying buy, refurbish, refinance or doing a traditional buy-to-let model, how you can model both using the systems and how it shows you the clear differences on the financial modeling, what the numbers tell you between traditional buy-to-let, buy, refurbish, refinance. The conclusion of this video is if you do traditional buy-to-let, it's fine, but you're going to make less money, you're going to make less return. If you do a buy, refurbish, refinance, you're going to make your money work harder, you're going to make a higher return. So listen, if you enjoyed this video and if you're looking to get into property and you're looking to scale your portfolio, we have a few spots left open in our flagship training program, Property Investors Accelerator. In the front end program, we only work with 360 clients. in any given year. We have a few spots that have come open. So if you're looking to grow your portfolio and you want to get involved and you want to use systems like this, then click the link below in the description. You can book a free call, schedule a call in with my team. You can have a chat, see if we're a fit for you, find out more about the program, and equally we'll see if you're a fit for us. If there's a fit and a marriage can happen, we can get working together, we can help scale your portfolio. I'd love to work with you. Equally, if you don't want to book a call because you're not interested right now in doing any property education or any training, or don't feel like you want a mentor to help you deploy this stuff, that's also okay, no problem. I hope you found this massively valuable. You can get access to the spreadsheet. We have tons of these spreadsheets in our program. This is like the most basic one, to be fair. In our program, we have much more detailed spreadsheets that go into a lot of granular detail. They compare absolutely everything you could think about, different acquisition structures. So if you like this spreadsheet and you get a good feel and you want more of it, then possibly working with us is the best thing to do to get access to those. But equally, if you want to start out using this spreadsheet, then you're more than happy to just comment yes in the description below, in the comment section below. Just comment yes. I'm creating a free group, which is a school group, which will go live in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And if you put yes in the comments, I will send you the link to the school platform, which is a free group that you can join. And I go live in there as well once a month to answer any questions, like a Q&A for free, to give you massive value, to hopefully help you grow your portfolio. And also in there, I'm going to give you away a free mini training to help you get started. So 2 things you can do. If you're interested, you want to accelerate, you want to go faster, you want to mentor someone who's done it, who's been there, who you can trust, somebody who has great systems, who can help you model everything and help you go faster without you making costly mistakes. Click the link below in the description to book a call. And equally, if you don't want to do that and you're just starting out and you don't need a mentor, for example, you don't want to extrapolate the process and you're happy to go out alone, join my free school group. And in there, you can get tons of value anyway, access to the free mini course. Just write yes below. And within the next 3 to 4 weeks, I'll post a link there with the free mini course that will be set up for you. So listen, thanks for watching this video all about buy, refurbish, refinance and buy-to-lets. I hope you found it valuable. Let me know in the comment section as well what you're doing, what you thought of the video. Give me some feedback. Anything didn't make sense, ask any questions. I'm happy to go in and answer any questions that you have. I'll do my best to answer every single question that gets put into the comment section personally. And yeah, you've been great. If you like the video, please remember to hit that like button, subscribe as well, and click the notification. Thank you a lot. I appreciate you. Have a great day, and we'll speak soon.